Shalom, brothers and sisters. All honor and glory and praises goes to the Most High Yahweh in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Welcome to another video, family. I am happy to share all this information the Most High has given me to help you with your walk. And I pray that you pray for me as well at home. Every time you get down on your knees, think a thought of me and lift up a prayer to the Most High Yahweh for me, that I may keep it clear and understandable and fruitful in the eyes of the Most High. And I will pray for you as well. And brothers and sisters, just as a reminder, if you need any prayer or if you're in need of financial help, let me know through my email, through trusaver at gmail.com. And that email will be in the description box of all my videos. You get in any trouble, let me know. And I will do what I can, and I'll try to make an announcement for people to pray for you and also help you in your financial needs. So I just want to put that out there for y'all who are subscribed to my channel and been a part of this ministry, and you've helped this channel grow. I want to thank you for all the likes and all the comments and questions and knowledge and information you shared with me as well in the comment section. Thank you for that. I appreciate all of it. And for all those who gave in my time of need, my time of struggle, you gave knowledge, you gave information, and you gave financial help. Thank you, family. Thank you for those wonderful gifts. And I left my links in the description box if you just want to give a gift, a good alm to your brother. And it's okay to give good alms. I'm not talking about give in the order of these pastors today, where they getting so much, they living in mansions and driving Rolls Royces and wearing the most fanciest clothes. And nah, I'm just saying, if the Most High puts it on your heart to say, hey, I want to give to this brother today, go ahead and do so. My links will be there in every video. That's for offerings, for love offerings, for just giving good alms in the name of the Most High. All right. Now for this public disclosure. Public Law 97-280 was passed in the Senate and in the House to become a law that the word of the Most High Yahweh is the law of this land. It is the official word of the Most High. Now this is just a covering. We know that these heathens do not abide by the word of the Most High. We know this, so don't get it twisted. But it is at least in the law, so we do have the right to speak about the word of the Most High publicly and privately. We do have the right to gather and assemble as the word of the Most High has ordained us to. We do have the right to speak out and put out videos voicing what we believe and what we think according to the interpretation of the word of the Most High in video form or written form or verbal form as well. We have the right to even make CDs and DVDs, pass them out, brochures, flyers, make templates available, make websites available for the word of the Most High was to be given freely to all man and woman and child. So I want to make that disclosure, and I'm going to continue to make these disclosures because YouTube is getting real funny. So all of you out there who are listening, you making videos, you better start making your disclaimers and disclosures as well. And if you add in videos, you have to put a content disclaimer, your own personal content disclaimer pertaining to that particular video. You must craft and shape it individually, or you could speak it. Whatever the case is, you must say something, give a disclaimer. Now, my disclaimer is that all of those who do not wish to hear the word of the Most High, who do not wish to hear the views and opinions of this channel, you do not have to watch it. You can click stop. If you are offended, contact me through my email. Tell me you were offended, and we will resolve this together. Another disclaimer. The views and opinions of the commenters in the comment section do not reflect the views and opinions of the content creator or this channel. Okay, now with those disclaimers out the way, and those who out there, you must start making these disclaimers, whether in written form to be viewed or in verbal form, to let YouTube know, not just YouTube, but all the viewers know that they have the right to unsubscribe. They have the right to not view your video. In the moment they find it offensive, they can just cut it off. But we also have an inherent right to our views and our opinions to be expressed verbally. But whether they are deemed offensive or racial or whatever the case may be, even though this world is trying to take away our rights to speak out because of their agendas that they have going, we do not have to give up those rights. But you must make these disclaimers because there are laws for them to protect us so that we can speak. Alright, let's get on with the video. The name of this video is entitled, Stop Worshiping the Gentiles Elohim. I made another video about this called, You Are Worshiping Another Deity. And as we are waking up, as the true children of Yahusha is waking up to their own true heritage and who they really are, according to the script, according to what's written in Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I'm going to go over some of those in a minute, we have discovered what has been hidden from our eyes, hidden from our mind, hidden from history, hidden from the public view. We are the best kept secret in the entire world. And now that this truth is coming out, many are calling us synagogue of Satan, liars, deceivers, false prophets, supremacists. They're calling us bywords and proverbs, as the scripture says. But we're going to lay this thing out for you and how you're worshiping another deity while you're in the land of your captivity, Zion. And you Gentiles need to listen up. Stop trying to teach. Listen up and hear what we have to say. It might just save you. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And take a look at some of these curses that's upon us, that identify us, that would happen to us. And one of them is that we will worship your deities in your land. And the Most High, Yahuah, shall scatter thee among all people from the one end. Let me start over. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other Elohims, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. There you have it, brothers and sisters. When we would come to these lands, we will be turned over to their Elohims and serve them, even wood and stone. And what you have here in America, the wooden cross, the stone statue of JC, the false deity, created for them and by them. And then in the Islamic religion, you have Allah and Muhammad that they worship, and the stone, the cobblestone that they go to and worship and walk around it like they're mimicking Saturn and the ring of Saturn, which is just another deity in itself. And we were made to worship and serve their Elohims, and they have many Elohims. It's not just one, it's many. They even made you to serve man himself, them. Verse 64, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Most High shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes, and sorrow of mind. And no one but the Negro understands this part right here. Some of you Gentiles are feeling some of our pain because your system has failed you. This is still your kingdom. Verse 68, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. Look at us today, fearing day and night. When we see a cop come behind us, we like, oh man, dang. Come on now. To this day we do that, because they are the slave catchers. Just as the slave catchers was created back in the day to keep us in check, to come catch us if we escaped, to bring fear in our hearts, that we would fear day and night. This was given unto them to do to us by the Most High, Zion. They are doing their job as the Most High has prescribed them, but they took it too far. Verse 67, and in the morning shalt say, would Yah it were even. And at the even thou shalt say, would Yah it were morning, for the fear of thine heart, wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again, the house of bondage again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies, not your friends. Zion, you will be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, does this just pertain to the Atlantic trade slave captivity where we went on ships over here? No, there was an Arab slave trade, and we were taken by ships to multiple places in Asia and Europe. Go do the homework and research. And then right before the Arab slave trade, as the Arab slave trade was still going, there was a European slave trade that started before we were gathered to go across to the Americas. There were routed from the west coast all the way around to the north, where we were sold into bondage throughout Europe. Go do the homework and research. You need to know these things yourself. Now let's go up to verse 45 through 50 and read some more about these curses that will come upon us. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Most High Yahuah, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. Still think the law, statutes, and commandments done away with? And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. The curses tell us who we are. It's a sign. It's a clear sign of who we are, Zion. And you are a wonder to the world with these curses upon you. Verse 47, because thou servest not the Most High thy Elohim with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. These are not our friends. Our only friends are the ones that are joined with us. If they're not joined with us and they're always trying to get us to join with them, they're not our friends, they're our enemy. They must join with us, not the other way around, Zion. Which the Most High shall send against thee. Remember, this is the Most High's punishment. He sent them in hunger and in thirst and nakedness and in want of all things. This is why you have to get everything that you possess in your household from them. Now, we make a few things, and you may buy a few things from your own brothers and sisters, Zion, but who owns all the raw resources and make those things that you need to use, or own the farms if you're making oils and teas and selling them? Who owns those farms? Is it more black brothers and sisters that own the land and the farm? Nine times out of 10, it's not. But if they do, they probably don't own the land, but they're leasing it. So you in one of all things, and you get everything, even your water supply, they force you to get from them. You don't own the grocery stores. None of this. What about shelter? You think you own your home because you paid it off? You better go research again and think again. Because every debt dollar that you use to pay off that house is still a debt dollar, and I owe you. You don't owe that. You don't own your home. Even if you so-called paid it off with these debt dollars, the government owns your house. Even if you pay off your vehicle with these debt dollars, they own your vehicle. They own everything in your household, your shoes, your clothes, everything. Even though you think you have possession, but you paid for it with these debt dollars, which is negative money. You owe them, and they own you. Wake up, Zion. Let's go up to... I haven't finished reading. Verse 49. And the Most High shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. Key word here, eagle, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. A fierce nation continents, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. These are our key words to get to understand that these are our enemies. They're a fierce nation of people, and they do not care about our old or our young, and they never have. I'm not talking about those individual Gentiles that came out of the thinking of their nation, the ways of their nation, and decided to help us and be with us and congregate with us. I ain't talking about them. These are the ones that are wanting to bless us and stand for us and be with us. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the whole nation as a whole that is with their own people, and they only care about their people. The Most High has not given the other nations His word, His laws, His statutes, commandments. He has not dealt so with any other nation. He's only dealt with Yahushua. Understand that. These other nations are enemies to the Most High. The Most High has turned them over to other deities to worship and lead them from Him. Let's go up to verse 36 through 37, and then we're going to move on to other scriptures. The Most High shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor their fathers have known. That was the European man when they came with their newly formed English and Spanish world and their continents and their supremacy and their guns and weapons and with the new language. We didn't know nothing of that on the West Coast. Even though some of us reigned and ruled over Europe, they got the best of us, and they broke the yoke off of their neck from us and created a new nation, a new strength, a new stronghold, a new continent, a new supremacy, a new everything, a new way of living called, what they call it, civilized way. And there's nothing civilized about it. It's barbaric. Unto a nation which neither thou nor their fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Most High shall lead thee. And to this day you are a thug, you are a criminal, you are ignorant, you are a child, you are needing to be taken care of, you are useless eaters, you are using up all the resources. You see how they flip everything evil and ugly about themselves right upon us, calling us apes, monkeys, jungle bunnies. You know, we just apes swinging from vines, acting like we didn't have no civilization, no civilized ways, no manners, no nothing, calling us savages and all manner of things to lift themselves up and keep them in their supremacy position. But the Most High is tearing all that down right now. And now they're becoming this astonishment, and they're becoming a proverb and a byword amongst all the nations. Notice that this is happening to Babylon right now and the people of Babylon. The Great Babylon, Mystery Babylon, United Snakes of America. Let's go to Jubilees. Oops. Chapter 15 and verse, let me move this, press this back button here. Chapter 15 right here. Now remember, y'all can go to, all of you can go to my website in the description box below. Click on that link, click on online resources, and you can pull up these books just as I pull them up. And like I said, I'm going to add more resources for you to pull up online as I find them, and also find the time to do them, because I'm doing so much right now. Anyway, let's go down to verse 29 through well, let's read it all. And let's get this understanding of the truth of a clear separation of the Most High Yahweh's children and all the other nations, and how he turned you over to worship other deities, and then he eventually turned us over to worship your deities. This is going to fall into place. Read along with me. For the commandment is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever amongst the children of Yahusha. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, the Most High did not cause to approach him. Y'all remember the Most High said he did not give his word unto no one else but Jacob. He did not approach any other nation. He did not choose them to bring the word. And y'all thinking that the Europeans was anointed to bring the word, to bring the gospel to the four corners of the earth. They brought a lie, an antichrist carbon copy. And that's going to be the second part of my video. Right now we're talking about the Most High, and we're going to get to talking about the two messiahs in my second portion. So bear with me and listen on. Watch all the video. Get understanding, take notes, whatever the case may be. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, the Most High did not cause to reproach him. And he chose them not, because they are the children of Abraham. Remember, these are the children of Abraham. Because he knew them. But he chose Yahushua to be his people. He knew Esau and Ishmael. Ishmael was the bondwoman's son, the servant. Y'all gonna get understanding of what the other nations are to Yahushua. They are the servants of Yahushua. They are the servants of the Most High first, of course, but the Most High has pointed you to be bondmen to us, bondwomen. Ishmael and his sons and his brothers in Esau was to serve us. But he chose Yahushua to be his people. And he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. And over all hath he placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him. Get this straight. These many nations, the Most High has appointed spirits and authority over them to lead them astray from him. Y'all know that grand delusion that the Most High would put upon all these nations, spoken of in 2 Timothy. Well, the grand delusion that he gave them was Catholicism, the universal church, and all this little Christian Protestants that broke away from her. That's one of the grand delusions, and the created religion created by the Catholicism, Islamic faith of Muslimhood, which dates back to Esau. That's another delusion. And Buddha and Krishna and all these other deities that they worship, they were given over to these deities to lead them astray because of the Most High knew them. He knew them. They would never follow the Most High. But there are individuals that would out of those many peoples. These are the ones that will come to bless us. Let's read on. But over Yahushua, he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler. Get this understanding, you of the other nations. Get this understanding, Zion. You Negroes scattered across the world. You are his. You belong to the Most High. And he is your ruler alone. And he will preserve you and require you at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve you, Zion, and bless you, Zion, and that they may be his and he may be theirs from henceforth forever. Get this through your head. This is why he said we are special people unto him above all people on the earth. No word will come back void, Zion. Every word spoken of the Most High is meant to accomplish what he desires. Even though Esau and Japheth made it void by taking over the word and bringing their version of the gospel, they made it void because they're not with him. They don't know him. They don't love him. They don't worship him. And I'm going to show y'all who he worship next, who they really worship next. And now I announce unto thee that the children of Yahushua will not keep true to this ordinance. This is why we are turned over to them. And they will not circumcise their sons according to all this law. For in the flesh of their circumcision they will omit this circumcision of their sons and all of them. Now people, this just brings to mind Paul's letters. When Paul was explaining about the circumcision and uncircumcision, that it availeth nothing. What he was trying to say is, if you don't circumcise your heart to walk in the Spirit, that fleshly side of circumcising your flesh avails to nothing. See, you got to really study all the other scriptures to understand Paul's letters first. And I recommend y'all stop reading Paul's letters if you don't understand it, and go read all the other scriptures and get a strong understanding, then come back to his letters. Then you'll understand what Paul is trying to say. You will get understanding. Peter warned us about that. He said if you're not a learned individual, you will go astray as trying to understand Paul's letters. But Paul never went against the law, statutes, commandments, or the circumcision. He was trying to get a point across to that particular church he went to get understanding. And that same church exists today, and they're not listening. Let's read on. And all of them, sons of Beliar, will leave their sons uncircumcised. So they're the sons of the devil, the Beliar, and they became the Beliar, a liar, right along with the killer, stealer, and destroyer of souls. And therefore they're not following the Elohim of our fathers and circumcising their children. And there will be great wrath from the Most High against the children of Yahushua, because they have forsaken his covenant and turned aside from his word and provoked and blasphemed, inasmuch as they do not observe the ordinance of this law. For they have treated their members like the Gentiles. There you go. Here's us acting like them, being forced to be like them, and all manner of things, so that they may be removed and rooted out of their land, and there will no more be pardon or forgiveness unto them, so that there should be forgiveness and pardon for all the sins of this eternal era. This is why the Messiah came back to save the house of Yahushua only. He didn't come for all these other nations, but all the other nations can, the individuals, let me state that correctly, the individuals out of all these other nations can be grafted in and partake in the promises given to Abraham, Isaac, and Yahushua. They can become a part of the house of Yahushua. They are the strangers the scriptures talk about. This is how you're grafted in. You have to read all of the script and get a full understanding of the gospel. And this is why some of those Gentiles turned from their nations and followed the Most High, and they were grafted in and became as one as though they were born in the land. And inside the body of Hamashiach there is neither Jew nor Greek, neither bond nor free, whether they are servants, but inside of the Most High, they are all in all the Most Highs. And what I mean by that is, who's ever within the body of Hamashiach is in the body of the Most High, because Hamashiach is in the Most High. In that order. It's the Most High, it's Hamashiach, it's the house of Yahushua, and there's the Gentiles who will partake in the body of Hamashiach, who is of the house of Yahushua as well, out of the tribe of Yehudah. Okay, let's go on to some more understanding on who you are serving. Let's go to Second Esdras. But first I need to go to a different version. King James, Second Esdras, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So their world is coming to an end. Esau's world is coming to an end. And Esau is he is at the top of most nations right now. He's at the top of the European nations, ruling over them. He's at the top of the Americas, ruling over them. He's in Saudi Arabia at the top, ruling over them. He's in many European nations, Asian nations, ruling over them as well, because he is blended with their people. And he has risen up. And he's in rulership. And you must get understanding where Esau went. This video isn't about that right now, but I will make a video about Esau in the future and give you some evidence scripturally and geologically and topographically and literaturely and whatever else I can find. The Esau was promised to have the fat of the land, and he was promised to live by the sword, which means he would always be at the war, and everything he get, he would war to do it. And this is why he has a spirit of competition in everything. Everything has to be competition and war and conquering. This is why you have these sports, entertainment all over the place. This is the reason why you have wars and rumors of wars all over the place. This is why you have video games always in competition. This is why you have online gamings. Whatever it is, it's a competition. It's always you having to overcome the other person, winning. All manner of games, handheld games. It's that spirit that's upon this man. You know, Esau has identifying markers in the book just like we do. This is how you find Esau. He has the fat of the land. That means he has all his vacation spots all over the world. His people is in most of the lands, ruling over it and taking over cultures and giving them their own culture in civilized ways. And the people there are being looked down upon, used and abused, their land taken and nothing given back, all the resources taken and nothing given back. At least now China's over there in Africa, at least giving back to the lands of Africa. And they're not as cruel as the Europeans was to the African people. So the Africans are starting to turn to China now, and they're turning away from America and the European nations. And this is the uprising you see going on. And it's all of the Most High, because the kingdoms of the Europeans must be taken down. And Esau is so well blended with Japheth, you can barely tell who's who now. And like, I believe I mentioned this one time in a video where I met a Greek. The original Greek is a dark-skinned man, just as dark as me, with curly hair. The original Greeks, original Italians, the original children of Japheth, they had color. It wasn't until Esau was introduced and the fallen angels started abducting them and having children with them that their lineage got lightened up. Yeah, I said it. That's the reason why you've seen all these videos with their eyes being all lizard-like looking and them changing like there's something in them. Or that's kind of too deep right now. Some of you understand what I'm saying, some of you don't. But if you read it in other passages in the book of Enoch, the children of the Nephilim were white, Caucasian looking children. Now some of you may be offended by this, but if you are, remember my disclaimer. You can just cut this off. But there's a lot of things surfacing about the original peoples of the land and what they look like. And the reason why the Most High had to tell us what leprosy was in the scriptures, so we can know, hey, you got a curse upon you. That's the reason why you're turning white. But some of you are called clean lepers. That means you turned all the way white and you're clean now. But anyway, Esau is the end of the world. We've been given over to their hands. And they have merged with Japheth and many different nations of the world. The Arabs, who is of Ishmael and the children of Keturah he is merged with. He is merged with even the children of Moab. And let's go to Joel chapter 3. I'm going to show you, now that you know Esau is a part of the Greeks as well. Hope y'all getting a good understanding of this. If you don't understand anything I'm saying, hit me up in the comment section or in the description box. Through email. Because I'm getting better and better at explaining this and putting it together. I just put this together today. The Most High put it on my heart, and I just started putting it together while I was reading scriptures. And so I just started putting together what I knew. And the Most High was leading me into this just today. So this is fresh it's a mixture of what I learned from in the video that I made the first time about us worshiping other deities. But he led me to other scriptures to add to this. And I could add much more, but the video would be way too long. So let's get on with this. The children of Yahudah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians. So Esau is a part of these Greeks, the Grecians. And this is also, they are called Javan in the scriptures. So if you put Javan right here, you're talking about the Greeks and the Romans, who is also of Esau as well. He's talking about all of them here. In the book, in the Sefer Bible, this says Javan. The children of Javan is Chittim, who are the Italians, and the Greeks. And we know that Esau merged with Chittim in the book of Jasher. It shows you them starting to merge and go their way with them. And eventually they ended up merging all of their lineage with the children of Japheth when they became the Khazars over there in the caves. And eventually they fled into the European lands and start taking that over. Anyway, let's go back to 2nd Esdras. Continue this understanding. Bear with me, brothers and sisters. Some of these lessons have to be as long as they are. Chapter 6, and we're going to go to verse 57. Show you how the Most High turned us over into their hands. And now, O Yahuah, behold these heathen, these other nations, which have ever been reputed as nothing, and you can find the Most High calling them as spittle in Psalms, have begun to be masters over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. We were given into the heathen's hands, our enemies' hands, the ones who were reputed as nothing hands, the bond servant, the servants of us. We have been given to serve them, and also we have been given to serve their deities as well. And this is the reason why we have been serving their deities all along. This is the Gentiles, the Europeans' deity, this God character. And the third was named God Re-El. This is why you have our black ministers and preachers up in there screaming, God and God. They are talking about their deity. That's why they are wolves in sheep's clothing, stealing all the money and giving nothing back to the community or the people. And they may give just a little bit, maybe 10% of their income, just to show that they're doing a little something, but that's still robbing the people. What about all those other requests that the church members have made for help? And you got to go through hoops, filling out forms, doing all manner of stuff just to get help from these organizations and peoples of this land. Not just the churches, but the organizations like Red Cross and the government itself, and the state, and the county, and the city you're in. You have to go through so much drama and trauma just to get help. This is because this is the deity they worship. Look at the Statue of Liberty. That's the statue of Moloch, showing you that you're entering the land of this deity, the God of war. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and he led astray Eve. And this is how you know this is the serpent that was in the garden, and this is the one whom they worship. And the Most High told them, you worship whom you know not. And this is why we were destroyed, because of lack of knowledge, for not reading these scriptures. And showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail. Y'all see them patches and different symbols that the armies of the world have on they. Go look them up right now. Press pause. Go look at the coats of arm, the coats of mail, and look at the stripes and the dragons and the swords on them and the eagles and get a good look at the beast and the beast system right before your face. And the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men, and from his hand, this is the God of war. Y'all ever played that game, God of War? That's who you're playing. Or let me say, deity of war. And from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day forevermore. This is the reason why all the nations have been in mourning ever since they came into rule. When the wicked is in rule, the nations mourn. The people of the lands mourn. Everywhere they go, they kill, steal, destroy, bring wickedness, bring their so-called civilized ways, their so-called religion. And you are in mourning, affliction, and oppression ever since they stepped foot in your land, looking like sheep, calling themselves white, pure, everything decent and in order, and your masters that you need them to survive. And really they are wolves, evil enemies of all people. The Most High has chosen them to be underneath this entity, and that entity is leading and guiding them, and that's their deity, and they have been, and we have been given into their hands to serve their deity. Do y'all get it now? Let me go up here and read this portion real quick. And after this judgment they shall terrify and make them to tremble, because they have shown this to those who dwell on the earth. Now this is after the judgment of these angels here. And they shall terrify and make them to tremble on the earth. Now the head of the serpent has a head, it's Esau. Japheth is confederate and one with him. This is the reason why they became the riders on those horses that went out to bring hell and death everywhere they go. The first rider on the horse went out. Let me go to Revelations chapter, is it 13 or 12, 11? Go forward one. Oh, right here. Oh, I went forward a full chapter. Oh, that was right. I bet you it was 13. No. 14. No, chapter 8. Oh my goodness, I'm tripping right now. Hold up. Chapter 6. Sorry, brothers and sisters. I could have pressed pause, huh? Here we go. Verse 1. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. Esau and Japheth together came together. Esau broke the yoke off his neck that we had put on Esau and Japheth as well. Because during the Dark Ages, we ruled over Europe. There are many icons and so much evidence pointed to that. And there are many brothers who made videos about this. Seek them out and get an understanding that we ruled over Europe. We ruled over the Greeks and the Romans. We ruled over Japheth for a season until the curses caught up with us and we were sought after and killed. Right around the 1400s when they first began to rise. And they began to start conquering different nations. And as they grouped together, let's move on. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Now that this beast formed together better and more uniformed and had its army together, it started conquering all these nations and it took peace. Now is this making sense that when this beast went out to conquer, it killed, stole, and destroyed, took the land, took the resources, took the people and enslaved them, took their culture, their heritage, gave them their cultures, their heritage, their deities to worship and their ways. This caused the people to mourn as they come in under the false tenses of being this angel of light, and they're nothing but devils in darkness. Come and see and be. Wait a minute, oops. And the power was given. Let me stop that. Was given to him to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. This is how World War I. Well, first of all, this is how all the wars that took place while they conquered all these lands, killing them, and the people rising up trying to kill them to stop them from taking their lands. But after that, they continued on warring against all the nations and taking them. And they've been using this great sword ever since. And eventually you have World War I and World War II. And all these other wars that popped up ever since. They've been at war ever since. They have not stopped or ceased one time being at peace with anyone. Do you understand? It's not in their blood to do it, and they will not. And I'm talking about them as a nation, as a whole nation, not the individuals that find the truth of the Most High and live it and be at peace with all men. I'm not talking about them. And when he had had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Now, you see how they're taking over the trade of this world? And they got the euro and the American currency at the very top. and all the other nations' currencies are way down at the bottom, real low. This has something to do with that, and I'm still getting an understanding of this portion. But y'all get the gist of what I'm saying about these pair balances that this black horse has. And it's causing famine and all type of stuff in other lands. Because, not only because they're making these weapons that can control the weather now and create famine, but they can spray things in the air to kill the crops, and they're using GMOs. This is part of this balancing act they're doing. And eventually they're going to get the balance just right on their favor, where there will be no more seed in the land. There will be only their GMO seeds that they control. Yeah, it's something to do with it. I'm still working on this portion, okay? So take that with a grain of salt, or take it as an advisement, or write it down and expound on it yourself. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, come and see. Why am I explaining this? Because we need to know who this beast is and what it's about, and who we're under, who we are serving, what their deity is all about. We need to wake up to their deity and their people, the deity's people, whom we have been following all along. That's why I'm reading this. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name. What did the natives call the European man when they came over here, women? Pale skin. Now remember, during this phase, they was just getting together, and they was conquering all these lands. They're still together. But now the nation of America is rising, the pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with them, the grave. This word means Shaul in Hebrew, and Shaul means grave. Hell means grave. And the grave followed him, and power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and the beast of the earth. And this is the reason why they went out to these lands to conquer them. They went to Europe. All the countries in Africa took that over, went to the Northern America and took that over. They went to Australia and took that over. And they've been pretty much ruling over the 4th part, plus their portion, all this time, which is half of the world. But they appointed different people over these different lands through the CIA and other MI6 and the Mossad, and they got their people in place in a lot of countries that they control that look like the people, but part of their blood is in those people that they appoint. Like Obama looked like he was one of us, but really he's one of them, even though he was born of Kenya. But and he had, well, I'll take that back. He did have Esau in his blood from the mother's side, but he was either a Hamite Kenyan, or he was a Shemite Kenyan of the nation of Yahusha. And I saw his father, and he looks like to be a Hamite, but I'm not. Don't take that with a grain of salt. Now let's look at the 5th seal. And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High, and for the testimony which they held. Y'all remember those crusades? And when they started taking over the word of the Most High, not just the Roman and Catholic Church, but when they really sought out to kill the children of Yahudah, who knew the word, and they started collecting all the Bibles and all the testimonies for themselves and put it in the Vatican. These crusades was those, the Knights Templar who rode out. That's what that was about. And many of our brethren were slain at that time. And not only them, but throughout, since we were kicked out of our land, they've sought to take over and bring their version and their religion to the world. So we've seen this part happen, right? And it's still happening. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Yahuah, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? This is us crying out to the Most High, Zion. And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest. Now, where's the place of rest? Abraham's bosom. Paradise. Garden of Eden. They could be there too. I think when they rose up, when the Messiah rose up from Abraham's bosom, I think they went to the Eden. But that's just what I believe, what I think. That they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also, Jacob's trouble, and their brethren that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. So we're waiting on Jacob's trouble for all of it to be finished and the Most High to raise us up when His Son returns. And I beheld when He had opened the sixth seal. Okay, this hasn't happened yet. So we're still waiting for this part to happen. But I just wanted to show y'all how this all fits together. And us worshiping the Gentiles' deity, who they are, who's the head of this serpent, and the things that they would be doing that we are also taking a part of, that we need to know in these lands. The beast and the beast's children, the dragon's children, the children of Satan, lives by his attributes. They lie, they cheat, they steal, they kill, they destroy. They're always living by the sword, by war and competition. That's why they have all these sports and gyms. They love worshiping the body. And it was abomination for us to put a gym in Jerusalem. Read about that in Second Esdras, or is it First Esdras? One of them. No, not Esdras, the Maccabees. First or Second Maccabees. Go read that. And they changed the image of our people to look like them. And it's written in that book as well, the First Maccabees. Go read it and get understanding of these Greeks and Romans and Chittim and Esau blended with them. Get an understanding of this European nation, the European man, and their new control system, how they're creating artificial intelligence to replace us, to be the laborers of the fields. You see, they are having a hard time being out in the sun, because the sun will give them cancer and will burn them. They are having a hard time reproducing right now. So they have to have things like artificial insemination and trusting in their man-made technology instead of the Most High. Because they're not with the Most High. They're with all these other gods and deities and other satans of the world. They are with the destroyers, the deceivers, and all the other nations are confederate with them. That's what's spoken of in Psalms 83. All these nations are against the Zion that we have been scattered into. And Jacob's trouble is coming. The final purging out of Zion is coming. And then the Messiah will redeem us out of oppression, slavery, and servitude. Only at that time, because the mighty hand of the Most High has to be shown. So I'm going to end it right here in the video. In the second part of this video, we're going to talk about you are worshiping another. Stop worshiping the Gentiles' Messiah. So look out for that video as well. And with that, I'm going to say, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell, and seriously put this in your favorites and watch this video again. Download it if you have to, upload it to your channel. I don't care how you do it. Make a playlist on your channel. This has to get out to Zion and to those Gentiles that's going to come in the kingdom with us. They have to wake up to their people as well, and the whoredoms of their own people. They have to do this. This is how you're going to be blessed. This is how you're going to come into the graces of the covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, given to us by the Most High. This is how you come into His grace. This is how you're going to get grafted in, Gentiles. But all has to go through Yahusha. At the end of the day, you have to go through Him. Thank you, brothers and sisters. And if you want to contribute and support and give good alms, in the description box below is my links. Go and give today. Just out of love and out of your heart, and give a love offering. Just as the nation of Yahusha used to the Levites. Every year the Most High commanded the Levites, the other tribes, to give a financial offering to the temple. Now, this is not tithes I'm talking about. Tithes was food and cattle and whatever else they grew. They gave that so that they may eat. But today, our preachers, pastors, and ministers, you need money to buy all the things. And that's why tithing has to be switched to money, not unless you have land and you can grow food and you can give it. But in some instances, if it was too far for us to go to Jerusalem, we would sell the food that we was to bring for money, and then go to the surrounding areas and buy with that money, so that we can bring that and celebrate before the Most High. So that's another aspect that you need to understand. And I'm just putting it out there, brothers and sisters. If you feel it in your heart, you want to give, donate, whatever the case may be, just out of the love of your heart, gift and offering, whatever the case, do so. But only if it is of love. I don't want it just because you heard it and said, you know what, let me give this. Nah, don't give it like that. Just give, say, out of love. That's it. Shalom. See you in the next video, fam.